Hi, I'm Quimby Chen, and today I'll be teaching you on how to code your Jewelbots. In the last tutorial challenge, I talked about coding conditionals, specifically the if, then, and for loop conditionals. In this video, I'll be discussing how to combine the knowledge we've learned from the second and third challenges by showing you how to code using both user inputs and conditionals in a fun way together. If you have not seen the videos for the second and third challenges, then I suggest you do so. The goal is to use the button press to interact with the long button press to initiate a custom number of loops. I'm going to do this by having the first button press record how many times you press it, and then the long button press will loop a series of light patterns based on the number of times you press the button. In order to code your Jewelbot, you will need to install the Arduino IDE and all the Jewelbot's board extensions. If you have not done that already, then find the instructions on how to at jewelbots.com/go. Once you have the Arduino IDE open, it will start a blank sketch with setup and loop functions already there, which you should keep. I always like to start my programs declaring the objects I plan on using. In the first video, I talk about that more, so check it out if you haven't already. That being said, the first lines we want to type for our program are LED, LED, animation, animation, timer, timer. However, this time I'm also going to add an integer variable, int x equals 0. What this line means is that I'm adding an integer called x with a value of 0. Now that we have all our objects declared, we can start working on incorporating the button inputs and conditionals. To do this, I want to start by programming the buttons. Void button press, and then void with open closing brackets. We're also going to have void button press long with void and open and closing brackets. I explained the use of button presses in the last tutorial challenge, so check that out if you want to learn more. For starters, I'm going to type within the brackets of the button press, x equals x plus 1. What this means is that every time I press the button, it will add 1 to the value of x. Right now, we have it starting at 0. If I press the button once, x will then become 1. If I press it again, x will then become 2, and so on. Then, within the long button press, I'm going to create a for loop. For, open parentheses, int y equals 1, semicolon, y less than or equal to x, y plus plus, close parentheses, and then open and closing brackets. Within the for loop, I'm going to type led.flash all green 1000 milliseconds, and then timer.pause for 500 milliseconds. And within this for loop, I'm also going to include an if-then conditional. If y equals x, open close brackets, x equals 0. What this means is that the for loop will loop as many times as the value of x. We had to use integer y within this for loop instead of x since we already used x before. Every variable object you declare should have a unique name. With each loop, the Jewelbot will flash the color green. Within the for loop is also an if-then conditional that declares that when it has looped x number of times, it will reset x back to 0. If we do not have this if-then conditional, x will also increment from the last time you press the button, and the for loop would have to loop more than before. Now that we have our lines of code, we can upload it to the Jewelbot. The first step is plugging your Jewelbot into your computer. We then want to make sure we have the Jewelbot's coding board selected and the proper port. To do that, you're going to go to Tools, scroll to Board, and then scroll down to select Solo Coding Mode. And then to select the port, you're going to Tools again, scroll down to Port, and then select the port. I have a Windows computer, so it shows up as COM with a number. For Mac and Linux users, it looks differently, which you can see more on in the description below. Once the board and port are selected, you want to press and hold the magic button of the Jewelbot for 2 whole seconds. After you see the purple fading lights, you can press the upload button on the Arduino IDE, which is to the top left. After it says done uploading at the bottom, we can unplug the Jewelbot to see the code in action. So as you can see, when I unplug the Jewelbot, nothing should be happening right now because we have not pressed the button yet. If I press the button for a quick moment, you can also tell that nothing has happened yet. As of right now, I've pressed the button 5 times. If I press and hold the button for 2 whole seconds, then we should see the program start to react. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Jewelbot flashed green 5 times because we pressed the short button for 5 times. If I press the button again for 3 times now, it should flash green 3 times now. 1, 2, 3. So yay, the program works just as we coded it to. Now for the actual coding challenge section of this video. How about trying different ways to interact the button press and the long button press? You can do this by mixing up the if, then, and for loop conditionals and making them more or less complicated. Code each type of button press to do different things and see how the Jewelbot responds. I wrote this sample code, which you can find in the description below. Within this sample code, I use if-then conditionals to determine whether or not the number of button presses were even or odd, and then I used for loops in order to determine specific light patterns. Again, you can find this code in the description below. Upload it to your Jewelbot and see how it works. Happy coding! Bye bye!